to Mackay. Meninga with the 3 goals. The penalty try to Edwards. A goal to Lydon. 34-6, Australia. Alexander gets the Australians underway. This side just as determined to produce another effort like that likely test combination against Wigan. Taken up by Armstrong. Put down very quickly. Marwood looking for runners. Walker, who plays with Brian Smith's Hull side, who is leading the First Division here in England. Marwood spinning it. Well picked up on the inside by Armstrong. That pass from Kendall was very low down. Marwood to kick early. Shearer sent back to give some support to Alexander. He's going to try and link with Shearer. He will do that easily. Shearer inside, beating 3 and 4 tackles. He easily came inside Vickers. So straight away the Kangaroos on the attack. Stewart, Elias, 32 out from the Cumbria line. Gillespie just outside the 22. Geyer, Carroll, great support. Carroll throws the dummy, and in the opening moment, Carroll right under the black dot. They stood and unloaded. Plenty of support play from the Australians, and Carroll has got it. So Mark Carroll acknowledges the congratulations, linking on the Just Jeans replay with his second row partner Geyer. It was a great ball from Geyer to climb high in the tackle. He knew Carroll was there. The call came loud, and Geyer just lifted himself. Good skills from Geyer. Vickers fell for the dummy. A moment ago he was beaten easily by Shearer. Right under the post. Carroll running very freely. He was sent off against Wakefield. Now tonight, what a positive start for him. In the second row, Mark Carroll playing with quite a few stitches in the eye. Alexander is successful with the kick. And the Australians, they grab this fine start over Cumbria, 6 points to 0. There is the shot of Derwent Park Stadium with this rain tumbling down still. Cliff Lyons traps it, playing in the centre tonight. You heard from Tony Durkin earlier. Also joining us sideline tonight, our Just Jeans man of the match from the clash against Wigan, Gary Belcher. Welcome sideline in these conditions.
Yeah, thanks, Graham.
It's a fine start and great support play from Carroll.
Yeah, a super start. We even saw Dale Shearer make a bit of a break on the sideline the first time he touched the ball, and it's good to know Rowdy might be finding a bit of form again tonight.
We talk about this Emu side, Gary, and the attitude that they've got to take into these, especially the night matches, about test spots still up for grabs.
Test spots up for grabs, yeah, and of course different conditions too. You know, the rain's coming down, similar to what happened last week at Wakefield. I'm sure the guys would like to play in the conditions that we played in last Sunday, but I'm sure they'll all be out there to come up with a big performance.
They've done that just so far. Crunching defence from Geyer. Terrific tackle. So what a start in the match for him. He helped lay on that try. Then that great tackle. Now Armstrong spins in the tackle. Unloads. Gets it back for Willie Richardson. Marwood. Cameron. Fisher. Fisher kicks ahead and kicks into open space. Fisher. He was knocked down by Alexander. It might be a penalty. It's going to come back to the 22. Did Alexander take him out, or was it a fair charge? Here's the replay and the chip ahead from Fisher. He was winning the race to the ball, got the foot to it. Alexander arrived right at the same time. No call from a touch judge at all. The Australians, after that near thing for Fisher, come back to the 22.
And Australia bring it out through Sargent, just outside the Australian quarter line. Well, a promising start from Cumbria, but a great start by Australia, and what a great performance from the former Penrith teammates Carroll and Geyer in the opening minutes. Australia have it just outside the quarter line. Elias. Stewart. Here goes Geyer again as it comes away to Hasler, and he's done a great juggling act to hold on to that. Magnificent performance. Give him a job in the Moscow Circus for that one. Back towards the halfway. As it comes away, Stewart on the run around. It was Walters. He put his kick in, but he can't come back and claim it because Walker's there, and he'll play the ball 10 metres inside Cumbria's half as they bring it up now through Riley back towards the halfway. Mousney the dummy half. Marwood. Howes takes it up, and good strong defence from Carroll and Geyer again. 10 metres Cumbria's side of halfway. Cameron coming back in amongst the forwards, and again it was Geyer and Carroll in combination. This is Marwood. Can't get his pass away, and Sargent's round his legs. Last tackle against Cumbria. It's Vickers who evaded the defence of Elias. As he kicks it downfield, a good bounce favours Chris Johns. Slips over in the greasy conditions as Johns comes back. Johns over the quarter line. Good return after slipping over. As Australia spread it wide again. Stewart, Hasler. Playing, of course, his first full match of the tour. Good solid defence from Cumbria. Elias. Well, all the runners had overrun it because of that delay in the play the ball. Sloppy play. Still might get it back, but that greasy ball very hard to handle. Sargent did well. Now Lyons, the kick downfield. Vickers is back there just outside his own quarter line. Brings it back strongly and beautifully taken by Cliff Lyons. That was a super ball and all tackle. So it comes open side again. Marwood, the halfback, runs into Geyer. There's no passage down there. Just inside Cumbria's territory. Walker finds Howes coming up again, but solid defence. The man they call Cement really did put him on the ground, David Gillespie. Armstrong. This is Riley. What a good tackle that was, Benny Elias. The defence from the forwards in this opening 5 minutes or so has been great. That looked to be a knock-on from Lyons, and now they come up with it. Cumbria through Rudd. Good pass finds Mousney up over the halfway and runs into Carroll. Solid defence, 6 to go. I don't think they can take this defence from the Australians for too long as Howes takes it back over the halfway. Gets away from Hasler initially, who claims him 10 metres inside Australia's territory. Spirited stuff from Cumbria as Armstrong takes it up and runs into Geyer. Solid shoulder charge then. Blindsides Mousney. They take it away again. This is Willie Fisher, just outside the Australian quarter line. Open side come Cumbria. Marwood. Walker, the captain. We'll see him later in the tour when Australia plays Hull. What a great game that should be. Hull undefeated in this year's championship as Marwood tries a long-range shot at field goal, which looks pretty good. It's there. Well, he'll go down in the history books as having scored a point against the Australians. Dean Marwood, from a fair distance out, has put Cumbria's first points on the board with that long-range field goal. And it brings it back for the restart. Australia leading 6-1. Well, Gary Belcher, this Cumbrian side, they've had to withstand some very solid hits from the Australians, but they've done reasonably well.
Yeah, some early defence, particularly Mark Geyer and David Gillespie leading the way. Of course, those guys are renowned as the big hitters of the Australian team. But unusual tactics there, I thought, from their halfback. I would have thought they might have, put a bomb up and tried to come up with a perhaps a lucky try to get the Australians on the back foot.
Maybe he doesn't think they'll get many points, Gary. He'd like to go down in the history books.
Yeah, you're probably right there, I suppose. It's a big thing. He'll be talking about that in a few pubs in years to come.
So here's Cumbria, midway half and quarter line, their own end of the field. Walker, great defence. Hasler making up the lost opportunities. It's Armstrong, the big front rower, who puts the kick in. Johns has trouble in handling it, but still managed to knock it back. Chris Johns, 10 metres outside the quarter line, and there's the Australian bench with Bob Fulton there and Sean McRae back towards halfway. Elias, Stewart, here's Carroll. He came from deep, takes the ball inside Cumbria's territory. Elias again, looking for a runner, and he finds Gillespie. Gillespie flicks it out the back. Elias dummies one way and continues to go. He's taken by 3 Cumbrian players just inside Cumbria's territory as Sargent comes straight down the centre. The big steamroller finds Kevin Walters in support. Kevin Walters brushes aside would-be defenders. He can't get his pass away. Had Elias on the inside, but almost got it to Shearer. Last tackle against Australia. It goes to Stewart. Stewart hoists it high. It's going to come down just in the field of play. There's plenty of green and gold jerseys there, and Cliffy Lyons has picked up a try. Try to Australia off the bomb. And so Cliff Lyons adds another 4-pointer to what has already been an impressive start by the Australians. Here it is. Lyons on the Stewart on the Just Jeans replay. Hoists it high. Up there was Geyer again involved in the try, and he virtually pitter-patted it back to Lyons, who said thank you. So Lyons in the centres this week would greatly receive that. Cliff Lyons scoring Australia's 2nd try in this match against Cumbria. And Greg Alexander with a difficult conversion attempt from right out on the sideline, almost back to the quarter line. We expect to see a lot of Alexander in general play later in this match. There's the kick from Alexander. It's coming around, but not around enough, so it's unsuccessful. And here at Derwent Park in Workington, as Alexander receives some water from Brian Hollis. And there's the replay again as Stewart hoisted it high. And look, Guy's up there, and he had made no intention really to catch it. He just wanted to make sure that if there was someone backing him up, that Australia scored. So it's Australia leading Cumbria 10-1.
Like a penalty shootout, isn't it? Carroll now running powerfully in this match. Elias, Stewart, Geyer now, just outside their own 22. Elias with the dummy up the middle and support. Geyer was trying to get it on the second catch. Fittler is there to cover up Peter Riley. Now, Geyer got one hand to it, but was then tackled as he was looking to catch it at the second attempt. Meanwhile, penalty against the Australians inside the 5 metres. And Cumbria, well, they took 1 point through the field goal. Now they want to go for 2 through this penalty shot.
I think we might see a few penalties go Cumbria's way tonight, Graham.
Well, impressive the Australians have been. And so far, the referee has kept them apart a good distance. Vickers from about 45 out. Hits it well. Hits it extremely well. He was confident from the start he wanted to grab those 2 points. 10-3 Australia. Right down the middle. From the moment he's left his boot, it was going nowhere but the black dot. Fine goal to Vickers. Alexander driving it down the middle, back for a penalty. He drove it way too far. So for Cumbria, they come back with the ball right to the halfway line. The crowd getting annoyed that it's taking them so long. You can't do that. You've got to tap it first, I should say, to Gary Mounsey. Now they decide we'll kick it out. Somebody finally got it through to them. Now they're inside the 22. Armstrong says that way. They haven't got a runner. Now they have through Howes. And Armstrong down the blind himself. So they haven't played a great deal of football together as a unit. Walker. Well, this is going to go against Mark Sargent. A warning for a high tackle. Started off around the throat area, so a fair warning maybe from Jim Smith. Although we saw a couple of those against Wigan that could have called for sterner action. Russell Walker says plenty to his team. Over the last 4 or 5 minutes, the rain has eased. That great goal just a couple of moments ago from Vickers. Now from inside the 22. Incredibly unsuccessful after that longer kick.
Australia leading Cumbria by 10 points to 3 as Sargent comes down the centre of the ruck. Good run from Sargent. He gets the ball to within 12 metres of the halfway. Elias, he did well to hold on to that. Armstrong almost spilt that out of his hands. He hasn't been able to make the ground down the middle that he's trying to yet. Carroll tries a little kick over the top. Fittler will come through and regather. He doesn't. Carroll does himself. He had support, but he was claimed at the same time. The ball's gone loose. Fisher can't handle it. He gets a second bite at the cherry and comes up with it, though, back on his own quarter line. And now another penalty against Australia being up inside the 5. Well, they're getting a caning in this penalty count at the moment, Tony Durkin.
Yes, six penalties to 0 to the Cumbrian side, David, but I don't really know of any penalty that's gone their way that hasn't been deserved. The Australians certainly very, very eager to get up into that line. You can see the hunger in this Australian side. They want to get up and knock over their opponents as quickly as they possibly can.
So on the halfway line, it's Kendall who plays for Barrow, who brings the ball up. And here's Howes again. This fellow has played well. Just inside Australia's territory. Mounsey, Marwood, this is Cameron. Cameron's taken in good defence again by Guy. Again, Marwood's there. The little kick through is charged down by Hasler. Walters comes up with it just inside Australia's territory. Australia bring the ball back now through Fittler. And Fittler, the strength as he got it away to Alexander. Alexander can't keep the movement going, but strong play from Fittler. And they're just outside the quarter line. Stewart. He finds support. Walters, quick hand. Oh, the hands went away to Lyons, who couldn't handle it. The ball's gone loose, and the scrum will go down. About 12 metres inside Cumbria's territory and 10 metres in from touch. Here's Walters. They tried to move it quickly along the line from Lyons to Hasler, but he just couldn't quite handle it. Fisher was applying a bit of pressure, but the first scrum of the game going down, and we've almost had 20 minutes play.
Marwood, Cameron, he brings in Rudd. Rudd gets it to nearly 40 metres out. Plenty of pace in this game. Walker. Again, that great defence. Stewart and Carroll. Marwood. Back up the middle. Ricky Stewart's not going to leave him alone. They lose about 10 metres, Cumbria. Cameron. Looking to spread the ball. Elias is 2 and 3 passes out. He chopped it off immediately. Picked up beautifully by Cameron. And he gets a nice roll away from Alexander. This crowd starting to urge Cumbria on a little to get down here. Alexander sends Johns on his way. Johns beats one, taken in the second tackle low by Walker. Carroll. Stewart's going to have to go very wide for Walters and Lyons. He thought Walters was going to go around outside him. Elias now. Sargent. 3 defenders on Big Mark Sargent. Stewart. Gillespie outside. Carroll inside. Carroll unloads for Shearer. Shearer stepping. Unloading back to Geyer. A quick play of the ball for the Australians, and Elias is off. Across the field, forward pass. That was let go. Elias knew that he was going to try for it and confident to get away with it. A massive bomb. Hasler was knocked back for Gillespie. Lyons could send Shearer in the corner. Shearer in and away. Back inside for Sargent, who can't handle it. Sargent nearly got his second try of the tour. A near thing for them. So the bombs are causing them plenty of trouble as Shearer looks back. Sargent just had the ball stripped as he was heading for the try line. Now Armstrong.
And Sargent would have been crowing too, Graham, to say that he would have been the first prop to score 2 tries.
So Sargent nearly had 2. Roach nearly got a second against Wigan in the 3rd game. But it's Cumbria. Through Armstrong. Well, that's got to be a penalty. That is just unbelievable to let that pass go. That ball was thrown forward to Morwood, 2 metres. Now, back on the last, Vickers with the torpedo kick over the head of Johns, and 1 hop over the sideline takes all the pressure off for them. And the applause of the crowd for that fine kick. It'll force another scrum. 40 metres out. That kick again in replay. Pinpoint accuracy over the head of Johns. Big boot on him, Vickers. Scrum collapsing. I was almost expecting a Cumbria penalty. 10-3 that scoreline. Back out for the Australians. Kevin Walters. Fittler. Trying to get set for his step on the inside. It's too slippery. Gary Belcher, they were probably expecting this scoreline to be a lot bigger at this stage in favour of the Aussies. Yeah,
I still think the game's there for the Aussies. I think every time that our guys have been a little bit adventurous, they've opened up the Cumbrian defence. But certainly at the moment, we see Ricky Stewart making a break.
Well, this is a great opportunity through Hasler. And that was a better head-on charge from Vickers. But Australia really do have them at 6s and 7s. Kevin Walters back to the midfield. Picks up Alexander. Alexander sent back the other way. Well, we were trying to stay with play. Unfortunately, there was a replay. Now the Australians on the 22. Elias popped it up. Unfortunately, our English director decided to stay in replay on us. But Armstrong now. Marwood. Big charge from Geyer. The back row having a strong game for the Australians. Geyer just threw him to the ground. Cameron. He's trying to repeat the efforts of Vickers. It just won't have the legs to find touch. Alexander. He's trying to have the legs to get outside Cameron, and he does. He gets right through. As the rain starts to come down again here, now Alexander loses it. Not controlling the ball, Australia. Fisher.
So here's Cumbria just inside Australia's territory. Fisher, quick hands. This is Richardson. Richardson tackled 10 metres Australia's side of halfway. Open side. Armstrong across his Howes, the big prop standing out amongst the centres. Starting to tire just a fraction. Marwood, the halfback. Here's Walker. Midway half and quarter line. Australia's end of the field. Last tackle. It's a long pass back now to Marwood, who hoists it high. Getting underneath it is Kevin Walters, and a penalty against Cumbria for being offside. That's Australia's first penalty. And it's taken, what, 25 minutes to come. Australia will kick for touch, then see if they can apply the pressure from halfway. Stewart finds touch just inside Australia's territory. The penalties favouring Cumbria, 6-1. Sargent streaming straight down the centre. Good run. 10 metres Cumbria's side of halfway. Elias looking for the runners, and it's Carroll. Good tackle from Fisher, puts him down. Midway half and quarter line, Cumbria's territory. And in the back play, I think you'll find that Fisher might have been decked by Carroll as the touch judge is in. Fittler's taking the ball up, but the referee's going to hold up play. After that tackle, or the play the ball, Fisher, I think it was Fisher,
Fisher was the man that was following play. Mark Carroll had played it. So this is a full touch judge's report here on Mark Carroll, who was in trouble. We remember he was sent off against Wakefield for fighting. No more, says Jim Smith.
Well, the thing about it, Graham, you saw Fisher on the ground and Carroll standing over the top of him. It was almost like David and Goliath. Well, here's the replay. As Carroll gets up and plays the ball, well, really, there wasn't much in that. But the touch judge might have seen it, especially when you've got a willing crowd over the far side. He has to come back to Workington one day. As Cumbria have it just inside Australia's territory. Mounsey. Marwood. Here's Fisher. Again, that ungainly type of grubber kick from him, but it's very effective, and he finds touch almost on the quarter line, Australia's end of the field. Twice we've seen him off the left foot. One gets the feeling that's not his preferred foot, the way he seems to kick it. As Stewart puts the ball in. Australia's ball. Walters. Can't get past Cameron. Walker comes in to add assistance. Elias. Here's Carroll, who's lost the ball. And coming away with it is Cumbria through Peter Riley. Can Cumbria put a try on here? Rooney goes from dummy half, and he's held up only about 14 metres out now from Australia's line. And Howes takes it one out and taken in good defence by Hazza, 11 metres away. Mounsey comes to Marwood, and away it goes again to Riley, and Riley's tackled 11 metres away from Australia's line. Australia holding on in defence. Cameron, down the middle comes Armstrong. Back it comes now to Richardson, who's in off the wing. Last tackle against Cumbria. Now they go the field goal again. Marwood's back there getting ready for it. From the quarter line, he has a shot at field goal, and it's there. So Marwood's had 2 pots at field goal, and he's managed to add 2 points for Cumbria tonight. So you can obviously pot those fairly successfully. So here at Derwent Park, as we see Marwood again, set himself at the centre of the quarter line, and as sweet as you like, bang it straight over the black dot for a point. And so Australia leading Cumbria by 10 points to 4.
Tony Durkin, we've got a replacement for Cumbria.
Yes, the replacement coming on is Gary Chambers in jersey number 15. He's from Warrington, and he's come on for Peter Riley, and he'll go into the second row.
So Riley leaves the field, and Chambers, Australia, he joins the pack as the Aussies get their second penalty, with Riley in plenty of trouble. We won't see any more of him. Stewart to look for touch. Soaking up a little bit of time and trying to settle themselves, the Australians. They come back with it again. It's starting to become a real tough slog, Gary Belcher.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think, to be honest with you, that the Cumbrians are playing a little bit of a better game with their kicking game. Our guys have been a little bit too adventurous sometimes.
Stewart now. Benny Elias shapes to go right. Bill Kitchen still sidelined, trying to watch if his team can hang on here. Elias stays right. Geyer, he's caused them trouble. What a brilliant ball! And what play from Lyons to get there, and Elias to get there, and now Shearer. That is a superb try. Mark Geyer is having a very big game. The pass that he gets away to start this off to Shearer is absolutely brilliant. Shearer, just look at this ball. 3 tacklers on him around the back for Lyons. He showed the confidence in Geyer to stay with him and just wait for the ball. Elias started it from dummy half. He got there, and Shearer had the passage to the line. He knew Elias would serve it up to him. Just watch this ball. What a great pass, Gary Belcher, from Mark Geyer.
Right there, he's playing some superb football at the moment in attack and defence, and of course the move was finished off well there by Rowdy Dale Shearer.
Yeah, he got there off Elias. Benny thought he might get there himself, and he found Dale Shearer with that free passage into the corner. which will give him some confidence. And talking of confidence, Alexander gets the goal for a try that certainly did deserve it. Vital one for the Australians, 16-4 over Cumbria.
Geez, those refs cop it sometimes.
Yeah, like that one the other day.
Oh, well, he'd have to be blind.
Yeah, couldn't see the end of his nose.
Couldn't see that second row feed.
Probably couldn't feed himself.
Not even at McDonald's?
She should have to be joking.
Cameron tries a shorter kickoff. Sargent knocks it back for Stewart. The forwards to take over. Carroll. He and Geyer have been the strong runners. Sargent has started to come into his own a little as well. Alexander calling for it. Now Sargent to take over. Hasler from dummy half. He straightens. That great acceleration of his. Now he's going to link up out wide. Fittler. Fittler still clear. Geyer's backing up. Geyer out for Lyons. Lyons pops it up for Johns. They're off again. Their support, he just couldn't get it to Gillespie. That would have been a stunning try. It's still on. Stewart back in field. Fittler likewise for Alexander. Real Penrith connection. I don't know what that's for. He's called it forward. But the Australians nearly had another one.
Superb football from Australia. There's the pass from Fittler going back to Alexander. That's the one that he ruled forward, not that one, which was certainly right. What superb football we've seen from the Australians when they've just had a little bit of ball, which they've had in the last 5 minutes. That try from Shearer, arguably the try of the tour so far. As Vickers brings the ball back to the quarter line, his own end of the field. Chambers. Geyer's there to halt his progress. Marwood. So comes away to Kendall. Good run from Kendall before he's manhandled by the young 18-year-old. Stewart's down hurt in back play as well. He tried to stop Kendall and couldn't. In fact, Stewart's in some pain. Looks like he might well have hurt his chest in some way there. He's not well at all. Maybe some ribs. As Cumbria continue to play very well. The kicking game was absolutely superb. In fact, it's knocked over one of the ground microphones. And there's Ricky Stewart receiving attention from Brian Hollis, the Australian trainer. One can only hope that he was only winded, but he was certainly in some pain for a short time. Hasler fed the scrum. The crowd didn't like it, but Australia's come up with a scrum win. Walters just outside the quarter line. Alexander finds Carroll. Lyons didn't watch where he was passing it, but he found a mark. Alexander the swivel, the pirouette, midway half and quarter line. Stewart still being spoken to by Brian Hollis. Penalty goes for Australia, or to Australia, for holding down. And Ricky Stewart in back play, as we see Alexander and that swivel as he came back and was put on the deck. And the referee in the end, Ricky Stewart, seems much better now as he comes back into position. And Sargent it is who powers down the centre towards the quarter line. Alexander. This is Gillespie. Good tackle there from Kendall. Again, Alexander finding Geyer. Geyer can't get his pass away this time. Fittler was there waiting for it. Elias. Blindside, it comes away. Walters goes on his own, but he loses the football as Hasler comes flying through and toes it dead. Not long to go in the first half, and Kevin Walters obviously upset with himself here for losing the ball. Really, when you saw it, it was knocked out of his hands by the hooker Mounsey. Tony Durkin, you've spoken to Brian Hollis. What was the problem with Ricky Stewart?
Apparently Ricky Stewart has a sternum injury, as we suggested, and Gary, I believe Ricky's has suffered from that injury before. Yeah,
he's had in the last couple of months of the premiership, he had some trouble with it. Nothing to keep him out of the game. I'm just glad. I suppose he just got a pretty heavy knock then, but I'm just glad that he's up and he's playing again. I think he should be all right.
Well, the situation, Dave, is that they're going to have keep him on there, obviously, till half-time, check him out during the break, but I'm sure there won't be any risk taken because there's plenty of halfbacks out there. There's Hasler, for instance, also Greg Alexander and Michael Hancock and Brad Mackay on the bench.
Cumbria finding touch after receiving yet another penalty just outside the quarter line. Now they're having trouble to find a football. Now they've got it. Who's going to bring the ball up? It's Armstrong, taken by Fittler and Carroll. Marwood. This is Walker. Great to tackle there from Gillespie. Just lined him up and drove him into the ground. Marwood. Chambers, he goes without it. Australia will come up with possession. Lyons, that long pass, found Stewart. Now it's with Fittler. Now Fittler's got to take on the prop. He beats the prop Armstrong easily before he's taken only 16 metres out now from the Cumbrian line. Shearer, Stewart. There's plenty of opportunities if they can spread the ball quickly. That's what Stewart was trying to do, but Walters just caught off balance for a moment. He'll play the ball. Still 22 metres away from Cumbria's line. Carroll looking to try and get his arms free to get it away to Hasler, and he's lost the football, and Vickers comes up with it for Cumbria. It really is slippery conditions out here. Penalty against Australia again up inside the 5. He's been very intent on keeping the teams apart, and Australia have conceded the penalties to the tune of 8-2. I think 4 of them at least have been for inside the 5. They almost got the ball straight back there, the Aussies. Just outside the quarter line. Richardson goes on his own. Taken by Elias. Mounsey, Marwood. This is Armstrong, the prop. Stewart does well to go low and take him to the ground. How's Ricky Stewart now? He's a bit slow to his feet again. Back on the inside, it's Rudd. Rudd plays it forward, and the referee's ruled that Hasler wasn't correctly marking him. Mounsey, Armstrong, out on the full. Last moments here of the first half. It's a handover.
And a first half that's pretty interesting, Dave, because I think it's gone probably 2 or 3 minutes, or apparently 2 or 3 minutes overtime so far.
Well, there it goes. The siren finally goes in the background. And the score here is Australia 16, Cumbria 4. And we'll be back with all of the second half action in just a moment.
On the Just Jeans Kangaroo Tour, Australia Game 4 leading 16 points to 4 over Cumbria. And Cameron gets us underway. And the Australians through Geyer come back 32 out from their own line. Gary, you were in the Australian camp. What was the rap there at half-time?
Bob Fulton is a little bit concerned with our defence. A few guys, he said, have been going a little bit too high, and we need to tighten up around the marker area and in attack simply just to control the ball better. I think you'll see early that our guys, if they're in the right position, will use the kicking game a bit more.
And Ricky Stewart's okay?
Ricky's okay. He's in a little bit of pain, but he seems to think he's going to come right, so he's asked for a bit more time to see if the injury copes out there.
All right, well, now he puts the kick in down deep for Vickers. Vickers has a mile of defenders in front of him. What about Phil Kitchen and the rap from the Cumbria half-time room, Tony?
Well, of course, Phil Kitchen is wrapped, absolutely wrapped in the way that his side has been playing. He says that he hoped that when these boys pulled that Cumbrian representative jersey on, that they would pull out all stops, and of course that's what they've done tonight. Not happy, of course, of being down 16-4. He told me he's seen some weaknesses in the Australian side, but he wouldn't tell me what they were.
I got a funny feeling he might tell that to Mal really if he's that confident about it.
I think that's exactly what he had in mind.
Marwood just trying to clear it out of the danger area here, Cumbria. The Australian defence is solid and holding well here. Marwood straight across field, now to an open wing. Australia could do something here. Johns, bad kick from Marwood. Johns outside for Lyons. So quickly they're on the attack. A dangerous kick from the Cumbria halfback. Alexander, Geyer goes down. the blind side. That's just reward for a terrific display from the Penrith back rower. He caught him napping. They all thought he was going to open up to the back line out wide, but Geyer just noticed nobody at home with this Cumbria defence. He strolled down this blind side. He set up one for his teammate Carroll, and the Just Jeans replay just shows he palmed off the marker defence. No one in cover and nobody else. It was Rudd who would come off his wing. Nobody else in the defensive line noticed to stay down that blind side, except this man whose mind has been on the job right from the start. He's shown some great skills tonight, and he read it beautifully there for himself down the blind side. Second row, Mark Geyer. Disappointment for Kitchen. 2 from 3 for Alexander. One superb effort from way out on touch. That's where he is on this occasion. He's striking the ball well. Just wide. But it's 20-4 now, Australia over Cumbria. We certainly hope you've been enjoying all the matches so far on the Just Jeans Kangaroo Tour of 1990, and our thanks to our great sponsors of this tour. Special thank you to Craig Kimberley and all the rest of the gang at Just Jeans, this great company who have 125 stores right across Australia. Thanks for being with us. Elias. Geyer, keen again. Elias links up with Gillespie. He'll hand it back to Elias. The dummy will nearly get him towards halfway. Fittler goes back to Stewart. Walters trying to start the back line. Lyons was looking outside for Alexander, who remained infield. Play on, says Jim Smith, the referee. Look at that acceleration. Alexander and Rudd. The ball will beat them both. He had the fullback done with that chip, but Rudd was staying with him. Just a little bit too powerful, the kick itself. Great acceleration. When he sights a gap, give him any room, he's gone. But that kick a little bit too heavily weighted. He couldn't get there. He's not that quick.
So here's Cumbria bringing it back towards the halfway. This is Rooney and Hasler. Just manhandled him. All over him is Des Hasler. Just inside Cumbria's territory. Marwood. This is Chambers. Taken low by Gillespie and over the top by Carroll. Armstrong knocks it on, and the scrum will go down 30 metres out from Cumbria's line. And here it is again, Chambers. He's tackled. And Chambers will get up and play the ball eventually. And it was from the next run when Armstrong went without the ball. Australia win the scrum. Stewart, away it goes towards Walters, but he's gone without it, and so the scrum will go down. Again, 30 metres out, right in centre field. And that's obviously the area that Bob Fulton's not happy with. Ball control. Perhaps being a little bit too adventurous. Referee wants it to go in again. And there's the Australian bench up the back. Bob Fulton watching on pensively. Good run from Fisher, who's played strongly. Richardson, Marwood, this is Chambers. 10 metres out from his own quarter line. Mounsey, the pass held up was Armstrong. He managed to avoid Geyer. That was a forward pass to Marwood, who's up to the halfway. Here's Cameron, he's lost the ball. Flicked up now into the air by Stewart, gathered in now by Johns. Now Johns has got Lyons in support, but in the end Johns didn't deliver the pass at the right time. Held up in the tackle. Carroll bringing the ball up for Australia. Charging straight and hard. Just outside the Cumbria quarter line. Elias. Stewart. Down the centre comes Big Sargent. Mark Sargent is held up almost on the quarter line. Elias, he's almost like a traffic policeman out there. I thought he knocked that on. But Australia getting a little bit of good luck their way. Down the centre comes Geyer. He's been very dangerous, guy. The ball goes on the ground. Play on, says the referee. Lyons still can't handle it. Lyons gets it away to Johns. Johns running out of room on the far side. Good defence from Cumbria. He'll play it just 18 metres out on the last tackle. Stewart calls for the ball. Stewart gets it. The long pass comes away. Walters quick hands away to Fittler. On it comes now to Shearer. Now Shearer for the line. Shearer decides to kick it back across field. The centre kick. Getting underneath it, Hasler. Well, it went to Elias. Now it's back with Shearer. Shearer again, hoists it high in the air. This time I think the ball will go dead, or will it? No. Rooney's back there. Rooney gets away from Hasler, but can't get away from Shearer. Well, the Australians trying to keep it alive in difficult conditions. Richardson finally gets to his feet, plays it forward, and this will be a penalty. He's given the penalty to Australia. He seemed to take a long time to give the penalty to them. I thought he was going to penalise Australia for a minute. There it is again. There were two markers, and Richardson being pinged for picking the ball up. And the rucker, Sargent goes straight and hard, and he's almost in on his own. Elias can't get his pass away. He's lost the ball, and Cumbria come up with it. I think it might have been raked out, though.
It should just about have been a penalty, really, to Australia.
And here's another chance for the Australians. Carroll comes up with it. The ball is now like a cake of wet soap, and Australia going to go close again. Kevin Walters held up as the rain is really starting to come down heavily now. You can't really blame these fellows for not being able to handle the ball. It is very difficult at the moment. Out wide, it comes back to Sargent. Sargent goes straight down the centre. He finds support in Gillespie. Gillespie gets it away to Hasler, and Hasler is not going to score a try because the referee has ruled obstruction. Penalty goes to Cumbria.
Well, this is this rule in England about crisscrossing runners, which rarely brings a penalty in Australia, and he cautioned Gillespie here with Johns. Now, no defender was interfered with. The pass looked forward anyway, but no defender was interfered with, so it shouldn't have been ruled a shepherd. So Cumbria bringing it away. Tony, that's one because of habit. We'll come back in a moment. Chambers striding clear. He's got Mounty. Just ankle tapped by Elias, who's really did show determination to chase the break. Now Stewart. But Tony, that is a rule that it's just a habit back home, isn't it?
Yes, but it is something, Graham, that is worrying Bob Fulton and the Australian team management. They've spoken to Fred Lindop, the English director of referees, about it on
well, I'll come back, Tony, because Elias has shown that pace again. Lions will get try number 2. Terrific performance from Lions to get there, but what about Ben Elias? He ended up helping to stop one at the other end, and then he was there to make a great break. So on counter-attack, Australia get a fine try. Elias, superb performance on the Just Jeans replay, shaped a kick, heard the call from Lions. They didn't have the pace to go on with Lions once he was inside the 22. So they are a dangerous side. You give them half a chance on counter-attack. Elias had already heard the call at that stage. The quick feint on the fullback, and back in field for Lions, who's starting to pick up a couple of tries and enjoying a night out in the centres. Normally 5'8", wearing the number 3 and striding out. They turn it around pretty quick through Elias and then this man, Cliff Lyons. %50 for the Penrith star, Greg Alexander. Improves that slightly. Met that ball well. 26-4 Australia. There is a change also on the Australian side.
Yes, well, Ricky Stewart, as we expected, has left the field of play. There's really no point in him going on because he is obviously being hampered by that injury. And Brad Mackay is coming on for the Australians. Obviously, he will go to lock, and Des Hasler will feed the scrums.
So the touch judge won't let them on at the moment. Crazy situation where the Australians down to 12, and you can simply just make that back up to 13. Stewart makes his way to the dressing room. Sargent quickly to his feet. Gillespie back in field. Might have been a touch forward. Hasler's going to cause trouble here if he can get out the lines again. He couldn't. Shearer's already in field. Inside the 22. The pace and the intense performance of the Australians. This is where it is shown in most matches. Last tackle. They still can't get on. Shearer straight through Vickers, and he will just be allowed to waltz around under the post. So they just couldn't keep the pace up in defence, couldn't keep moving up, and Shearer gets the try. So another one for him. Back in field, the pass was from Alexander on the Just Jeans replay. Vickers had him in his sights, but he just went straight through him. Alexander had gone for a short gallop, took 2 and 3 defenders towards him, back in field for Shearer, and a poor attempt from Vickers, the fullback from the Carlisle club here, right under the post. Better night out for Shearer. Alexander, 3 from 5 and right in front. No mistake, and in a flash that scoreline has really started to climb. 32-4 over Cumbria.
You can almost hear the forward pack from here. Rick, drive, 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 they're yelling. The captain's given the order and the team bus is straight to the drive-through window to collect their takeaway.
Back with the kickoff for Cumbria. Mackay gets his first touch. He finally gets out there, and there's a change to Cumbria turning.
Yes, big Jonathan Neal in jersey number 17. He's the big fellow who played against the Australians at St Helens. He's on in jersey number 17, as I said, for Gary Kendall, jersey 11.
One would probably think Neal should have started this match. So Jim Smith just signals a little bit of time off and some attention for Carroll. Just grabbing at a knee. One hopes the free run that they've had with the injuries, the Australians, continues on this tour.
It's one thing, Graham, though, with a doctor, John Lewis and Brian Hollis and Sean McRae here, there's plenty of support staff to treat injuries, as John Cartwright's found out in the last 48 hours.
Well, Bob Fulton really has brought the best prepared Kangaroo team here to Great Britain.
As the scrum goes down, well, who's going to come up with it? Brad Mackay's got it, and the referee's ruled a penalty. Well, the ball had come out, and Armstrong, the prop, is going to kick for touch. And he finds it about 20 metres out from Australia's line. Well, the Australians will be very keen to prevent Cumbria from scoring a try. Jonathan Neal takes it up. He's taken solidly by Carroll, showing no ill effects of that slight knee problem he had a second ago. Marwood, Howes, smashed into the ground there by Gillespie, who's had a very strong second half so far. Armstrong, 3 Australian defenders up there. Slow to his feet. Marwood, the long pass finds Cameron. Cameron still going. Elias is there, so too is Hasler and Sargent. Mounsey, Marwood, Chambers. Chambers steps well. Mounsey thought about throwing the pass. The ball is played. Cameron hoists it high. It's going to come down about 16 metres out. Going high, Alexander, and takes it brilliantly. Great take from Alexander under pressure, and the penalty against Cumbria. But watch this as Alexander really does climb hard. He comes in, times his leap well, and takes that very safely indeed, as Australia finally get a penalty for Cumbria being inside the 5. Back on the halfway line. Now, what are we going to see from Australia here? Benny Elias, the captain, will be very keen that this team goes on with it. Now that they've opened the second half so strongly, as Carroll is taken just inside Cumbria's territory. Gillespie, another great run. He really has put in a great 20-minute period here in the second half. How did he get that pass away, Elias? I don't know. But Guy just couldn't quite handle it, and Jonathan Neal comes up with it for Cumbria. Just inside Cumbria's territory. Marwood. This is Armstrong. Flicks the pass out to Walker. Walker comes back towards halfway where he's hammered. Plenty of the green and gold Guernseys up there. Penalty against Australia being inside the 5. Well, he's very officious with that rule. And the penalty is now favouring Cumbria 11-5. Better than a 2-to-1 ratio for them. But Australia going very well, leading by 32 points to 4. Been a great start here in the second half. Chambers comes at Mackay. He'll play the ball on the quarter line down Australia's end of the park. Marwood decides to go back the other side. The switch, Cameron finds Armstrong to Marwood to Cameron. There's only 3 players in it at the moment. Now it comes across field to Vickers. Vickers back on the inside. Mouncey can't handle it. Back there is Mackay, so too is Hasler. And in the end, the referee will put the scrum down because coming up in possession was Mouncey. The Australian camp watching, Mal Meninga and some of the other players, of course, who we'll probably see on display for Australia, not just against Leeds, but in that first test match against Wembley on the 27th of October. Quick hands after Australia win the scrum. Shearer held up just outside the quarter line. Dummy half was Hasler. This is Mackay. Picked up by Sargent. Sargent's lost the ball. Mouncey, quickly it comes away to Cameron. They've got an overlap here if they can move it quickly. Out it comes to Rooney. On it goes to the winger now, Rudd, and Rudd is claimed well by Carroll as he came back on the inside. Great defence from Mark Carroll. Elias tried to rake that ball away, couldn't do so as Rooney takes it ahead now from Cumbria. Marwood, the little pirouette. I think he thought there was somebody on his inside. There wasn't as Carroll picks up that loose ball. He's doing some good cleaning up, Mark Carroll. He's had a great game so far. Lyons throws the dummy, but no one accepts it. Now he's got it away to Walters. Walters has got support. He's found Alexander. Now Alexander should put Shearer away. Shearer's over the halfway. Shut the gate. He's gone, and he's going to race away and score a hat-trick. And Dale will say, well, let's see if I can put some pressure on Andrew Eddinghouse, and he scores under the black dot. Another try to Australia. Good support play and good work from both of those. Alexander really did draw the fullback well to put Shearer away. Here it is again on the Just Jeans replay. Lyons it was who managed to shrug off the defenders, 3 of them. Kevin Walters in support. He had support both sides. It was Alexander who followed him through, and good work from Alexander, unselfishly putting Shearer away. And there was no chance of anyone catching Dale Shearer. The only man in his half was the prop forward, Stephen Howes. Here it is again. Really, it's just a case of superior pace and superior strength and fitness as Shearer just bounded away. And he'd be pretty pleased with scoring a hat-trick. As he comes down and just plants it underneath the black dot. Greg Alexander successful with the conversion, and Australia lead Cumbria by 38 points to 4.
They come back to halfway, and now another change for them, Tony.
Jersey number 14 coming onto the wing, Paul Penrice from the Workington club, and he's on for Chris Rudd, who of course is from Warrington.
So Penrice out there in 14. Gets a taste of the conditions out here at the Derwent Park Stadium. Rain right throughout the second half so far. We've got a couple of brave men sideline who have managed to hang in there with all of this as Mackay brings it away. And look at that rain still tumbling down here. Armstrong taken by Mackay. Neal, he fumbles, gives it back to the Australians. The scrum will go down against the original knock-on. Michael Hancock and Bob Lidner maybe doing a couple of stretches. It's Penrice. Crowd don't like the scrum feed. Kevin Walters back inside for Alexander. Great footwork. And great passing to Lyons. Shearer might get another. He just can't get clear. Yes, he can. Fisher came across to finish him off. But the Australians up quickly. Fittler, a gap there for him. Great stepping. The call from Sargent. He was charging onto that one. Alexander. They switch play. Gillespie. Knock on, said Jim Smith. Gillespie was looking to unload for Geyer. Might have been the better option. Showed it. He thought he might have got there himself. Geyer was headed for the line. But I think Gillespie thought he could just about take the tackle, control the ball and go himself.
What about that run of Dale Shearer again, Graham? Barry Vickers was in front of him. He just ran straight over the top of him like he did for that second try he scored.
He's going to have nightmares tonight, Vickers. He's had more than just Shearer running at him. Running repairs for Fisher. Cumbria to try and work it away. They won't want to lose possession again here. Walker. A few players here tonight, Gary, answering a call about pressure in test positions.
Yeah, they certainly are. You know, it was a great performance on Sunday against Wigan, but it's ended up, you know, the guys out here, whenever they've controlled the ball, they've been able to, you know, show some good skills. And, of course, Dale Shearer now putting some pressure back on Andrew Headinghausen, who's come up with 2 hat-tricks.
Well, that ball was stolen. The penalty will come. No, knock on against Cumbria and Chambers. Australian feed, so that control of the ball is going to be costly here. 38-4 Australia. They're going to take the scrum again as it collapses. Mounsey was on the broad of his back. He was allowed to get back up. Walters, Lyons, Fittler, doubling around as Walters. Just about to pop it up. He'll still get it away, but over the head of Johns. Way over the head of Johns as Walters tried to keep it alive. Johns, in fact, had gone back in field. Cameron, Penrice. The unfortunate thing for this second Australian 13, 2 matches they've played and they've had to play throughout rain in both their games, whilst the other 13 have had perfect conditions for all their matches. Armstrong. Neal goes without. Chambers. Howes. Last tackle against Cumbria. Cameron. He's going to try a chip, but there's plenty back there. Walters and Hasler were trying to cover the line. Walters unloads again, but a stray ball. Hasler's wrapped up by Cameron.
As Australia bring it away now through Mackay, back towards the halfway line. Elias, Carroll. Carroll's got Guy with him, but just can't get his arms free to put him away. Sargent again, came from Deedham, charges onto the ball. Look at the strength of the man. He's extremely strong, is Mark Sargent. He took play from halfway almost to the quarter line. Walters. On the inside comes Fittler. Fittler can't keep it going. That's good defence, especially from Chambers, who went low. Elias. Elias again, feigning to kick. He's found Alexander. On it comes on the far side, Gillespie. The pass comes back on the inside. Here comes Elias, and Elias will score a super try. Fabulous football from Australia, keeping the work alive. Gillespie, how did he get that pass away to Elias? He's a prop forward, and he really has had a huge second half as David Gillespie. Here it is again. Gillespie on the Just Jeans replay shrugs away the attentions as he's going to ground. What a pass it was to put Elias in for a try. You won't see many better than that. We've seen some good skills in this game when they've been able to put it together. Alexander it was who got it away initially to Gillespie, but there's that lovely pass again. Penrice caught in no man's land. Marwood couldn't stop Elias. Good try. Alexander with the chance to add the extras. They haven't scored all the tries in convenient positions for him to kick goals, but he's been striking the ball very sweetly. On the quarter line, moves in. That one's going across the face though. And so Australia really putting it together here in the second half, leading Cumbria by 42 points to 4. Well, Graham, we've seen two lovely balls put players away for tries. The Gaia one, and then, of course, that one. That was superb.
Yeah, well, when you look at conditions like this, you've got to understand just how good some of these balls are. Unfortunately, as Gary Belcher was explaining, they haven't been able to control it just the way they wanted. But that's a great scoreline in these conditions.
And Cumbria make another mistake. They kick the ball out on the full from the restart, and so here comes the Australians again. I think every time Australia gets possession from now on until the end of the game, you must think that there is a chance of a try being scored in the 6, especially when Alexander can find touch from halfway and take play to within 16 metres of the line. Some movement on the bench, Tony Durkin.
Yes, well, big Glenn Lazarus and Bobby Linder also warming up on the sideline. So the boys bringing out their heavy timber here. Glenn Lazarus in jersey number 17. Bob Linder in jersey number 16. We'll just have to wait to see who they replace.
Australia knocking the ball on immediately after getting that good field position as Linder now comes off the bench. Lazarus is on the sideline. I think there's also a replacement in the Cumbrian side, Tony.
Yes, Norman Lofthouse, the Ted Ellery lookalike in jersey number 16. He played against the Australians in 1986 over here and made quite an impression. He's on in the Cumbrian side. He's replaced the fullback, Barry Vickers.
Yes, and for those who are a bit younger, Ted Ellery had a lot of TV glamour back in 1974. He played with the Lithgow Workmen's Club. He was also part of Western Division's mighty win that year over Penrith in the MCO Cup final, the first year it was ever held. What a great competition it's proved to be over the years, but TV Ted played a similar role to Lofthouse. He had a bald head and he came on for the last 20 minutes of each match. As Cameron puts the ball in, as some of the crowd thought that perhaps he was hit after he was put the kick in. The touch judge is coming in, ruling that Gillespie did impede Cameron. This will be a penalty to Cumbria, but really Gillespie,
he was entitled. He was into the tackle and he nearly charged the ball down.
That's exactly what happened. There wasn't any malice in that at all. It was quite legal what he did, but I think with the crowd roaring, the touch judge reacted to the crowd and not to what happened.
He might be called back here for a caution before he gets replaced. What? Well, it is Lazarus for Gillespie, Tony.
Yeah, that's the change, and David Gillespie has avoided the wrath of the referee.
He did it easily, didn't he? Good play by the Australians on that count. So back it comes to halfway.
Good refereeing too, Graham. Jim Smith deciding, well, what's the use of cautioning him? He's not going to be back on the field.
It was common sense. I think he had a good look at it himself. Chambers. Marwood. Howes trying to turn in the tackle. About 10 minutes left in this match. Marwood shaping. He's wrapped up by Elias. David Gillespie has joined Tony Durkin's sideline.
Well, Dave, 2 games on the Kangaroo Tour, both in atrocious conditions. You haven't exactly struck the jackpot.
No, mate. You know, I think all the Sunday games have been pretty good, but our Wednesday night game's been pretty poor. But, you know, that's something you've got to overcome. That's the conditions you get over it.
Pretty slow start. The Cumbrians really put it to you in that first half.
Yeah, we done a few silly things, mate, but, you know, I suppose they got into us at half-time, and I think the second half was, you know, a lot better from the boys.
Well, I suppose one bonus for you can go in and have an early hot shower. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, mate.
That's one thing he can do, Tony. Mark Carroll you saw leaving the field. Bobby Lindner is out there for the Australians as they get a penalty. Bobby Lindner's screaming at the bench, calling for one of the trainers. Whether or not he's forgotten a mouth guard or some protection that he still wanted to use in this match. Forgot his mouth guard is the call from Tony Durkin. That often happens. Lions taken as they spread it on the early tackle. Lindner's going to go without the mouth guard, and he's going to go without defenders. Touch judge said he put a foot in over the sideline. So back for the scrum. Shake of the head from Lindner, who thought he stayed in the field of play. I thought he had as well. This scrum pack's just below our commentary position. Cameron. Here comes England's TV Ted. Noam Lofthouse will play at 40 metres out. Cameron. Walker turning in the tackle. Michael Hancock and all his mates on the bench. Poor Queenslander left alone. He mightn't complain if he doesn't get out there in these conditions. Rooney taken strongly by Hasler. The biggest score so far on the Just Jeans Kangaroo Tour, 42-4. Neil will play it on the last tackle for Cumbria. Marwood. What you call ambitious. Alexander. Alexander. He might go all the way here. Marwood coming across, stepping infield, unloads. Hasler over the top. Cumbria end up with it. But that was really going to be a spectacular try for this crowd. About 6,000 or 7,000 who've turned up in this driving rain. The pass over the top. Lofthouse got a hand to it and turned it back for his own side.
So not long to go in this match as Cumbria bring it back. Armstrong it is. His own side of halfway. Chambers in support. Chambers, a good run. He's over the halfway. He's only got Alexander to beat. He's got support on the inside. Alexander misses him because he went a bit too high. Now it's Monsey. He flicks the ball out the back. Cameron, he finds support eventually in Lofthouse. Lofthouse back on the inside. That was surely a forward pass, the last one. But the best passage of play from Cumbria all night. Open side. Cameron, Armstrong. Over the top it comes. Penrice is tackled in midfield on tackle number 5, 16 metres out. Now Omar would have another shot at field goal. He decides to put the grubber kick in, and Shearer misses it, and it's going to be a try. No, referee says it is a try. The referee says that he's got the ball down. Marwood it is who put the kick through. But the referee initially didn't point to the spot. Here's the Just Tunes replay. And the ball coming loose. And Richardson it is who's scored the try. But did he actually force the ball? Now you see the ball is loose in the in-goal area. Richardson actually kicked it, and that's why Dale Shearer missed it. And yes, fair try. Richardson getting the ball, hand on the ball to set up Cumbria's try. So Graham Cameron takes over the goal-kicking duties. He's about 25 metres out. It's coming around, it's coming around. Crowd tells the story as Cameron converts the Richardson try. And Australia lead Cumbria by 42 points to 10. That was a bit upsetting for Dale Shearer. There wasn't a thing he could do about that. That kick. He was wrong-footed completely when Richardson actually got a foot to the ball. As Cumbria bring the ball back towards the quarter line. They get a bit of heart out of it, at least scoring a try against the Aussies. Just outside the quarter line, Australia have the match parcelled up and retain their undefeated record. And a great tackle from Mark Geyer. Gee, he must be in the running for the Just Jeans man of the match. Really has had a great game. Marwood again. Alexander back towards the quarter line, his own end of the field. Hasn't had too many opportunities as he gets it away now. Lyons streaking away down that right wing, loses the football, and Cumbria come up with it. And more good defence too from Lazarus. Elias is there for Mounsey. Australia's next game is against Leeds. And a good ball away. Here's Marwood up to the halfway before he's dragged down from behind by Sargent, the big prop forward, who's also had a mighty game. Armstrong comes up. Out it comes now to Penrice. He got the ball away. Armstrong, Mounsey, Marwood. Marwood back in amongst the Australian forwards. Is held up about 33 metres out from the Australian line. Armstrong, the ball knocked down by Lyons, and the scrum will go down. Well, I've been trying to say it a couple of times. Our next match is against Leeds on Sunday, which will be another difficult one for the Aussies. Leeds captained by Gary Schofield, who'll definitely play against the Aussies in the first test at Wembley, barring injury. You'll see it on Channel 10 Monday at 8:30. That should be a very entertaining game. Leeds have been in good form so far in the English Championship. Chambers comes ahead. Midway half and quarter line. Inside Australia's territory. Chambers takes his time. Neal. And this game tonight really has been played in the right spirit too. 30 metres out. Here's Armstrong. Shows the ball one way. He finds support in Howes. And he's tackled down.